Hi, I'm Alan.
Hi, this is Dionysis.
Hi, I'm Kyle.
And hi, this is Braiker, and you're listening to Magic Hour, a podcast about all things TreasureDAO. Hey guys, welcome back. How was your Easter or Passover weekend?
Super relaxing. What about yours, Braiker?
It was good. It was, I just eat too much food is what I find over these holidays. And it's great to see everybody. But I'm actually excited about this episode because we've got a great guest tonight. But first, let's go into these news and notes.
I don't have too much for my news and notes this week, but I do have some very exciting information that's honestly happening very, very soon, just tonight as well. We have the Toadstoolz mint that's going to be happening as of literally in the next 40 minutes in terms of my time. So in Easter time, it's going to happen around 10:30 p.m. So I'm really excited for that. I'm personally going to be minting that as well. Luckily, I got whitelist, and I think Dion here got whitelist as well. So I'm pretty sure we're both going to be minting that out, and I'm excited to see how it goes.
I did not get whitelist, so good luck to you guys. I think I was reading that 1/1s are going to be given out in raffles, so hopefully you get some rare traits.
Yeah, no, thank you. The Toadstoolz mint games and trivia quizzes and stuff were all really challenging, so I feel super fortunate that I got to be on the whitelist.
Right on. I'm happy for you guys. No doubt about it.
I just found out yesterday that I'm on the whitelist. I don't know what competition it was from. I was working so hard at it. I didn't think I made it, and then I got a special Easter present whitelist, I guess.
That's awesome. You deserve it.
Listeners out there, that's DL. He's joining us for the pod. We're gonna talk more with him in a little bit, but DL, definitely feel like if you want to jump in wherever. I just wanted to make sure people weren't confused and didn't know where that mysterious voice was coming from.
Yeah, mysterious voice.
All right.
We have a ghost speaker on the podcast, and no one knew where it was coming from.
Dion, what's your news and notes this week?
Yeah, so my news and notes is a little bit of a deeper dive into Knights of the Ether.
Okay,
and
I haven't heard about this one.
Oh, I believe that we mentioned Knights of the Ether in passing in a previous episode, but I'd like to just take some time to do a quick overview of the game because there have been some really cool recent developments. And no promises, but we may be lucky enough to have the founder on the pod in a few episodes.
Oh, wow, that's awesome. I'm looking forward to that. Hopefully.
Yeah, me too. Hopefully. So Knights of the Ether is an NFT project that is partnered with TreasureDAO. That's why we're discussing them. That's why they're in the limelight right now. It lives on both Layer 1 and Layer 2, similar to Lost Samurais. At its core, Knights of the Ether is a deck-building roguelike game. And for those of you who aren't familiar, deck building in this case means gameplay revolves around fighting enemies in a turn-based battle using a base deck of cards that contain abilities for attacking or defending against whatever enemy you're up against. Roguelike means that when you die, you lose all of your progress and you have to start back over from the beginning. For all of you gamers out there, they liken the game to Slay the Spire, which is a game that came out in 2019. It's apparently a very well-liked game. I haven't played it myself, but it looks super fun.
I see a lot of streamers playing Slay the Spire.
Yeah, it's one of those games, easy to start, hard to master.
Makes sense.
So throughout playing this game on both layers, you'll be acquiring their in-game currency called fief, like fiefdom, and a litany of different NFTs to use with your knight that you minted on Layer 1. So you listeners at home might be asking a few questions. How is this project span across both Ethereum and Arbitrum? What exactly is the connection to TreasureDAO, and when game? So the project minted on Layer 1, and it minted out on April 8th, so about 2 weeks ago, give or take. The NFT you received on the Ethereum layer was a knight, which represents a playable character in the deck-building roguelike game. However, on April 15th, if you owned a knight, you were airdropped a squire on Arbitrum. And this is where the connection between multiple layers comes in, and also their connection to TreasureDAO. That squire can quest and collect items that the knight will eventually use on their adventures. So as far as the connection to TreasureDAO, so far I'm aware of 2 integrations. Squires will soon be integrated into the Treasure Marketplace, and magic rewards will be given out to knights who are high performers for their roguelike deck building game, which is yet to come. And as far as when game, the deck builder game is still yet to come, but Squires have had a soft launch of questing just a few hours ago. I actually just recently sent out, I think I have like 10 Squires all out to go start earning fief and hopefully cool items for my knights to use when the deck builder comes out.
Is the questing kind of similar to what we're doing with Bridge World, or okay?
Precise. Yeah, that's a really good question. There are 4 types of quests, but they're very, very similar.
Right on.
Yeah.
I know last episode we were talking about how gameplay and play to earn right now is very kind of one-dimensional.
Yes. It's similar to DeFi Kingdoms in so much as you can like level up your character. But yes, by and large, it's the same type of staking, waiting a time period, and then choosing if you want to stake in a different quote-unquote quest.
Right on. And where can people buy these NFTs if they want to buy them?
Well, currently you can't buy Squires on the Treasure Marketplace, though that integration is coming soon. I think that you can purchase it on Tofu if you are really itching to participate. And then the Knights, of course, you can get on any L1 Marketplace. You could go to OpenSea or Looks or wherever you really choose.
Right on. Anything else we should know about Knights of the Ether?
I think for transparency, I am heavily invested. I think that is important to know.
The art's pretty cool.
Yeah, thank you. It is cool. But I like the team a lot. I think that they've handled a lot of things well. They had a hiccup with one of their Squire airdrops, and so I think they handled it. They remedied the hiccup extremely quickly, and they have been open and communicative with the community. I don't know. It's giving me strong Realm vibes. So it's currently below mint. If you want to get in, I guess that's important to know.
All right, cool. I'll check out Gem later, see where they're at.
Don't they also have a pretty stacked team in terms of the like actual professional game developers and graphic artists on board?
Yeah, that is true. They have. Do you know? Could you go into more detail on that, DL?
Yeah, I don't know the specifics right now. I just know that when I was looking into it, I was really impressed by their backgrounds.
Yeah. Okay. No, I agree. I very much agree.
Cool. For me this week, first off, we'll cover my treasure bag that I bought. The floor on treasures right now is 0.14. That's on L1 treasure bags. Again, the treasure bag that I bought had an unbreakable pocket watch in it. I bought it at 0.15 ETH, so down a little bit, but I'm not too concerned. And the price on the treasure is about 74 magic right now, which is about 0.05 ETH, which is I think what it was last week when we were doing this. So it's kind of holding steady at that level, and I still don't know if I can move it over yet. We haven't heard anything about treasure migrations, but I'm still hopeful that they're going to allow it to happen. And then as far as my particular news and note for this week, this one's more Web3 related, but I was kind of really excited about it. And it's kind of an interesting use case. And I know we talk about magic here on the pod, but this restaurant that I go to a lot by my house just launched an NFT, which was really strange because I found out about it via their text message marketing, because I sign up for it. It's this taco place and they're always packed. It's called Dirty Taco.
Is it good? It is.
Their tacos are amazing.
Okay.
But they launched an NFT, and with this NFT, you're allowed to make reservations. So I'm like super excited about the fact that I'm now able to make a reservation at this restaurant, because they don't ever allow reservations and they're always packed. I'm telling you, packed. And
Well, that gives you a head start.
Yeah, and you get 15% off on your meal, and they're gonna have like private events, and they're gonna give out free merch every month, kind of thing. So it's really interesting. I aped right into it, but I'm really curious to see how it goes. But I thought that was really interesting, and kind of like an interesting application of Web3, which I hope takes off, because I think that it makes a lot of sense, especially for restaurants that have a good following.
And
Yeah.
on top of that, it's one of the very few experiences that we can actually see when it comes to Web3, and the main concept of everyone wants to see NFTs within a day-to-day life of everyone else and seeing it really adapt into the future of everyone else's life.
Yeah.
And I guess you can see it's one of the very few implications that we actually see happening, because I'm pretty sure there is also a Bored Ape burger restaurant down in
Right.
California.
Right.
And
Right.
I guess this is, as far as I've heard, this is only one of the other restaurants I've necessarily heard that are doing like a food chain NFT type of mix in between. But
Mhm.
it's just nice to see, seeing in terms of the NFT space that it is still starting to try to get some. As far as I believe personally, it's still a long way to go into seeing it in day-to-day lives. But I guess it's definitely a good sight to see that it is working along those lines to get there.
Yeah, definitely. I think there's another one called Flyfish, which I think Gary Vee is involved with as well. But what was really cool about this one compared to Flyfish and the Bored Ape one is this one started as the restaurant launching their own NFT, and it was already a successful restaurant. Which with the Bored Ape one and Flyfish, they created the NFT for the restaurant, or they utilized the NFT to create the restaurant. So really interesting stuff. But yeah, I'll let you know how the food is, if it tastes any different, because I own the NFT.
Yeah, the tacos taste better.
Ladies and gentlemen, listeners of the Magic Hour, we have a wonderful guest for you tonight. This gentleman is a member of the One Discord, a creator in the space, a big Treasure fan, just like we are. His name's DL. You can find him in the One Discord. DL, do you have a Twitter?
I do. My Twitter is my actual name, Dan Levine.
Okay.
DanLevine.
At Dan Levine. He's doxed,
Yeah,
folks.
that's it.
It makes it really good. Because what we're about to tell you is why we're having DL on tonight.
Before you
Yeah,
go on,
absolutely.
let's hear you to just tell a little bit about yourself as well. Get have all the listeners just get to know you a little bit as you explain my treasures as well.
Sorry, what was that? Could you say again?
We'd love to just let us hear a little bit about you as well. Just give us a little bit of info on just your background with how you got into Treasure and stuff, and just your crypto background as well. And then definitely touch up upon how you came on to mytreasure.info and just your thought process with it.
Sure thing. Yeah, I've been a software engineer and a technologist, entrepreneur, startup founder for a long time in the Web 1.0 world, in the Web 2.0 world. And then I left San Francisco in the Web 2.0 space in 2016, and I've been all in crypto ever since then, emotionally, mentally, all the above. But I actually haven't built anything in crypto or Web3 until this. This is kind of my first foray into creation. And it's really because I'm so inspired by TreasureDAO and Magic and the potential of what's being created here. And I can talk more about that, certainly, like why I think it's so interesting and special. But what I did, I was, like I said, all into TreasureDAO and Magic, was buying the Legion NFTs and playing Bridge World, excited about all the different games. And I just started building little tools for myself that I wanted to be able to really maximize the gameplay and connect with the community. I don't know about you guys, but I kind of think of my Treasure Magic bag as a really separate part of my portfolio, kind of standalone. Maybe because it's off on Arbitrum instead of just mixed in with everything else. So I started building some portfolio tracking software to really see the value of it change over time and what was gaining and what was losing. I added some in the game of Bridge World. It's a time-based game, so you have lots of different events that expire after 8 hours or 16 hours or 36 hours. And so I started writing scripts and tools to help let me know when that was coming due, and they would send me a text or a Telegram message or a calendar alert, things like that. And then just started getting deeper into the data in the marketplace and setting alerts when the price would go down on things I wanted to buy or the price would go up on things I wanted to sell. And so I really had this whole suite of tools that helped me integrate deeply with the game and kind of maximize not only profit, but just kind of the enjoyment and the connection with the community. And then started putting those into a tool. And
I
the
love
funny,
I love hearing all that. Honestly, I love the Telegram bot alone because I was looking for something that would alert me, and at first I was using Magic. I think it's Kung, um,
Yep.
which is a great app on its own and a great dashboard. But when I set up the bot for Discord, it was like pinging the whole Discord every 5 minutes, letting them know that all my legions were done. And I'm like, this is not good. And so when I set up your Discord bot and Telegram bot and started using it, like even this morning, I got a Telegram and it was like, your legions are going to be done questing in 32 minutes. I'm like, that's amazing. I love it. It's like, alert, alert, here it comes.
I'm glad you enjoy it. And I was laughing before, not to laugh at the other software. I think everyone building in the space is great, and I think
Oh,
you've got a
yeah.
great app too. I just, laughing at the trials and tribulations of doing software development because we have our issues too. It's all. I think you can't take any of it too seriously.
Oh, no, I'm not taking anything too seriously, but that's really cool.
And
Well,
it's great that
a
you're
funny thing
creating
about
something
this
like
is
this as well.
actually we haven't even launched the site yet. I just reached out to some people in the one Discord and asked like 5 people if they would help test it, and then 5 people turned into 10 people, and I don't think I invited more than 10 people, and now there's a few hundred people using it, and I'm really just trying to message everyone and let them know that we're still in beta, we're still testing things, but hopefully we're going to have a more public launch soon. So I guess this will be out in a few days, and I'll do what I can to get it publicly ready by then.
So, is it likely when this episode records, which should be Monday, April 25th, I believe, that your site will be live?
It's live right now. Yeah, I think maybe that's the alpha drop here first. The site will be publicly live and ready to release with this podcast on Monday.
Awesome.
Good to give ourselves deadlines.
That's
Well,
awesome.
Yeah, that's
Wow.
fine because once all the hundreds of listeners of the Magic Hour podcast, hear about this, I'm sure they're going to run right to the website.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I got to do my scalability testing before Monday. I'm on it.
I believe we have dozens of listeners.
Yes, I hope so.
Well, part of why I'm excited to be building this now is I really believe in the future of Magic. I believe Magic and TreasureDAO and the ever expanding ecosystem are going to be massive in the future. And it's nice to build something now that can evolve into a foundational element. So that's exactly what you guys are doing here with this podcast. And whether there's 5 listeners now or 5,000 listeners now, it's really going to be an important part of the ecosystem in the future, I think.
Oh,
And
definitely.
honestly, I feel like that's a lot for the builders or just anyone who's trying to contribute to the community as well. Is again, we're all very, very believing in towards of Treasure's ethos, and just wanting to see the future of Treasure just expand and just gain success. And the reason why a lot of us are creating this now is to have this created during the times of while Treasure is building itself, so that when Treasure does end up expanding, does end up correlating to whether it's L1 or just bigger communities, it just becomes overall a greater success. We all have our own attributes and we all have our own contributions within the community that can really end up standing out within the future as well. So, I mean, hey man, that's just the way it is within these spaces. The earlier you start, the better it ends up prospering in the future. So, just good that we're all doing this all early.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And also, I just want to echo your sentiment. I believe, just like the other guys on this pod, believe that Treasure is going to make it, and that's, like you said, part of the reason we're doing this podcast. But we've actually had a number of people in other projects reaching out to us as well, either to support the pod or want to be on the pod. It's rising tide lifts all boats, and I think that there really is an amazing community around this particular project, and I think that really makes me probably the most bullish about it. Like, there's so many people who are like in it to win it, kind of thing.
Right on. That's the same thing for me too. I just, again, just the number one core thing, apart from how much we've made on this, apart from everything that's going around this project, the one thing that I absolutely, same thing as Braiker said, love about this entire project as a whole are the people that I've met and just the overall community and just how just different it is from all the other communities I've been with, and everyone really does act like a family in this, and that's what I absolutely love.
Absolutely. So DL, what I know that you've kind of been integrating different projects into your website. What projects do you have currently kind of with I would say an MVP integration? And what kind of projects or what are some projects that you're working on integrating in the future?
Yeah, good question. So one of the things I noticed with Treasure recently, but it's still pretty early in the life cycle of Treasure, is that it's really hard to keep up with everything. And there's so much cool stuff happening that I really want to be a part of everything. So I personally am, invested at an NFT level, at least a small bit, in pretty much everything that's come out so far on Treasure. But I'm really only intensely following a handful of things. I'm really paying close attention to Bridge World, to Soul Now, to Realm. You were talking about the Knights earlier. I think Tales of Valeria is very interesting. And even that group is kind of as hard as much as my brain can really focus on strategically right now. So there's other great projects like Battlefly and Peekaboo and other ones that I just haven't had the brain power to even connect into yet. So what my vision for what this is going to evolve into beyond just a website is a Discord where people can come and talk to others who are experts in these different projects. And if you don't have time to get fully up to speed with the white papers, you can get a nice TLDR by being on the site, and it can give you some steps of saying, hey, click here, stake your things here. That's kind of the base strategy for the game. But yeah,
Kind of
all those ones I mentioned.
like a game facts.
Yeah, game guide.
Yeah, something like that.
Exactly. Like right now, if you come to Bridge World and you have a bunch of legions that are doing nothing, it's going to have a little button for you that says, hey, send them questing, send them crafting, send them summoning. Here's how long it takes. Here's what you can get back. Here's how the kind of basics of the game works.
Oh
And if
wow,
you go to it there's a soul tab now, Seeds of Life, from last night's launch. And if you haven't minted your souls yet, that page says, hey, you have 3 seeds. Click here to go to the game and turn them into heroes. And then it tracks your heroes and lets you know when the time is up on the hero so you can go do something else.
Awesome.
So generally tries to keep you up to speed with all the different aspects of it.
That's super cool. And by the way, listeners, we're going to talk about the Seed of Life launch in a little bit, but
it's so good. It's really good.
Don't give it away, DL.
I'm just teasing it.
I know.
I'm excited.
He is. I'm excited too. But really, I think what you're doing with this site is something that's really needed. I was trying to introduce one of my friends to Magic, and he's like, "Well, what do I do with my recruit?" And I'm like, "Oh, you just send it questing." Well, what else is that it? So I'm glad that part of your initiative is to kind of give a guide to people on how to play the game, because yes, we have all these white papers which take a lot of time to read, and if you're not familiar with Web3 in a significant way, these white papers can get really kind of thick and a little all over the place for someone who just wants to know, well, what can I do? How does the game work, kind of thing. So I love hearing what you're talking about right now.
Oh man, Smalls! How did I forget Smalls? I'm really excited about Smallverse and all the small creations to come.
Yeah, us too. Although it's a meme at this point, but I don't own any Smalls. I always FOMO about it whenever we talk about it, but I still haven't brought myself to buy one yet.
You've been left behind before, and you're gonna be left behind again, dude. Smalls are gonna moon.
You're right. DL, I have a suggestion, or maybe you have it already, but I haven't seen your site recently, so I'm just going off of what I've been doing. But is there a Balancer Crystal price guide? Like when I go to the sushi.com website and I want to create an SLP, I always kind of have to put in what I think it might be so it can tell me, well, this is what will create one SLP. Do you have a tool like that set up yet?
I don't, and that's a great idea. So maybe I'll do that right after the podcast, and I'll give you some credit in the site.
You don't have to give me any cred. This is your site, but I love that you're open to something like that, because that's something, like I was looking at the arbitrage. We talk about it kind of on the pod, or even in our meetings beforehand. That you can create a balancer crystal and sell it, and then create more if you want to, because people are buying the balancer crystals for more than the actual SLP costs. And I think it's getting closer to equalization now, but it might be interesting to see how that tracks over time, kind of thing. But cool. I'm glad you're open to it.
Absolutely, yeah. Lots of great ideas coming into the Discord and trying to do all that I can.
Well, anything else you want to tell us about your site or you in general?
I'd love to. Like, I love the site. I'm happy making it. I'm happy that people love it. But I think that's just one piece. I think what's really exciting right now is just the vision of Treasure itself. Can we spend a few minutes talking about that?
Absolutely. What are your thoughts on the vision of Treasure?
Well, let me take a minute and just kind of walk through my history in crypto and how I got here.
Oh
So,
yeah, love that.
so I started. Let's see. I left San Francisco and my last startup in 2016, and I actually got fired from my startup by my board and my business partner. Stuff happens all the time in Silicon Valley, but there was a disagreement, and I spent a long time after I left thinking about that process and thinking about how I'd really just spent 15 years of my life founding, building, starting these different companies in Silicon Valley and San Francisco, and what effect did they have on the world and what effect did they have on their users. And I found crypto and blockchain, and I really just kind of knew instantly that this technology offered humans a different way of interacting and connecting, and offered builders a different way of building than we'd ever had possible before in the entire history of humanity.
I
And I
just want to
got
say I'm
really
getting
excited
chills
about it.
right now. I agree with you. Like that's what drew me into crypto also. Like the same kind of feeling. Like this is new, this is different, but it works. It makes
Well, I
sense.
think I think a lot of us, collectively us in the crypto space, have this feeling and we have this vision, and we know that things right now in the world around us, these systems that we've built, these like autopoietic systems that are just kind of running our lives in many ways, it's not how we want to be living, but it just exists, and we don't have an alternative yet. So back in 2017, I got really excited, and the ICOs and the utility tokens and all these things. And I was young and naive and optimistic, and nothing really came of it that had much lasting value. I'm going to leave like Ethereum and Bitcoin kind of in a separate bucket, but the altcoin vision, the altcoin craze. But there were a few pieces that came out of that that I think were really significant. For me, what matters most about blockchain technology and this new potential for humanity, it's not so much the economics or the finances, but it's the potential to really build a new social fabric for society and a new like social layer for humanity. And I think some of the most interesting things that came out of 2017 were the basis for what became DeFi, and specifically like the Uniswap revolution. And what really drove a lot of that was the Bancor team and their vision. Before they created Bancor, which was kind of the first automated market maker, they did a lot of work with community coins and thought a lot about how could different communities with different tokens interact with one another, and they'll need liquidity, and that's why they created AMMs, which led to Uniswap, which led to all of DeFi and everything that we know now in the crypto space, basically. And so I think like that Uniswap DeFi craze kind of lifts the potential for what we can do to create something new for society. I actually spent a lot of time last year in Costa Rica and was looking at buying some land to build a community, and thought a lot about how would we run this and what would it look like. And whenever I tell crypto people that, their answer to me is like, oh, come up with a blockchain based system to run your economy. And like, that's actually not that exciting to me. I'm thinking more about the social aspect and the community aspect. And none of the DeFi stuff like really clicked for me. And so I still just kind of have things on hold. Like, I know it'll get there. I know it'll get there. And then I found Treasure and TreasureDAO and Magic. And I actually think I'm not going to say TreasureDAO is going to succeed. It could succeed, it could fail, but I think it's a really important experiment because I think what it is doing is actually the kind of missing step to take DeFi and take these concepts that we have for the economics of crypto and blockchain and bring it forward in a social layer that could be used to build communities and societies and economies on top of in a way that actually works for humanity.
Wow.
So that's my
That's
spiel.
that's a great spiel. First off, I think Dion and Alan have some other questions, but I just want to say I love that vision. I also love that you were looking to build a city, a town in Costa Rica. um, I'm I'd probably be one of the first residents. I love that idea. I was actually listening to another
I got
pod.
you.
Tim Ferriss had, I think, this guy Naval on, but don't quote me on that. But they were talking about this very thing about blockchain communities and how it would incentivize all the landowners to be good landowners because it's does your city bring value to your property, right?
That's
And I
exactly it.
understand what you're talking about with the social aspect, but I think it's also you also can't ignore the idea that, you know, when you own a piece of property, it has equity, it has certain kind of rights and participation in the social group around it kind of thing. And I think that you talking about that and being on that level gives me hope for the future for sure because I think that that's where we will end up going at some point.
Well, like I love Tim. I love Naval, definitely. So I'll check that out. I haven't heard that particular one, I think, but they're both inspiring people and people I know and connected with back when I was in the San Francisco tech world. It's kind of like the evolution from like right now you can invest in a startup in San Francisco or you can invest in a startup restaurant, and if that restaurant does well, you make more money, right? It's the same idea with a community token from 2016 or 2017, right? You create a token for this community. It's essentially on a bonding curve. And if the community gets more popular, those people that bought in early make money and they can sell it. And if there's two different communities that are like neighboring communities, if you do better for your property and your property value goes up, your tokens go up, and then the exchange rate in the automated market maker between you goes up, and you can sell your tokens and get some liquidity. Like that's kind of the early dream of all this stuff. But I think what's missing from all that is the what Magic brings together as these like emissions of Magic and these NFTs that are shared across the economy that actually brings more builders and creators in instead of getting everyone to create their own token, which is kind of what you saw in 2017, or everyone to create their own NFT, which is what you're seeing now. How do you create an ecosystem that aligns the incentives of builders to come join and create with the community in a way that's sustainable and economically viable? And we'll see if this is viable, but that's the idea.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And I say this before, it comes down to composability too, right? It's the
Yep,
idea that anybody can build on any one of these other existing platforms within the blockchain itself because it's so simple to do that in the first place. It's like native that way. And I think that that's really important for any of these builders. But I'm a little naive because I'm not a software programmer or an engineer in any way, shape, or form. But that's just my thoughts on the matter. And I'm sorry, Alan and Dion, I'm taking away your time. So
No,
please.
no. Honestly, I love hearing everyone talk. Honestly, this is turning from more into a podcast episode to a tutoring lesson for me. That was crazy. That was man. It's just astonishing to see just how smart people really are in this space. And uh, as much as I may say that I know some bit to what's going on, you're always going to be able to learn more, and there's always going to be someone in this space who knows more than you. And it's just that's honestly just the beauty of the type of community that we're in. And I just love hearing more people come onto here and just showering just such valuable information to me. So honestly, that was amazing. I honestly need to start taking notes more on this podcast and rather talking in it. But that was awesome. I love that.
Yeah, I concur. Deal, one of the questions that I have for you is actually similar. It's in the same vein of what you were talking about. Like I I never personally thought about community in the same capacity as which you placed it, and how important it is for Magic's growth. I kind of understood that, but not at the same level. One question that I have for you is, you said you were a founder, and then you're also obviously a builder in this space yourself, through the website that everyone will be able to use on episode release day. What are your thoughts on how Treasure has been building and how Treasure has been scaling as an organization, considering you have had firsthand experience growing organizations of your own?
Yeah, that's a good question. Um, and I will be just fully honest about it.
Yeah.
I think I think it's a really important time right now coming up for Treasure. I think in the early days, it's easy to be inspiring with the community and also great executors and operators because you're small. And then Treasure definitely went through a phase where they were not able to execute and they weren't operating at the level that I think they demanded of themselves and the community was looking for, and really the level you need to do to be successful. That said, I'm still in Treasure, I'm still a Magic Maxi, and I still believe in the team. For me, the team has values, the team has integrity, the team has credibility, and they need to get some things in order. And I know that they've been working really hard behind the scenes for the last 4 to 6 weeks, especially. I mean, these timelines are so short, right? We're talking about like months and months and months of company development and corporate culture development and community development. And it's forever in crypto time because it's been 4 weeks.
Yeah.
But I know that they've been working really hard behind the scenes. And I think we're about to see in the next several weeks to several months just the result of that. And I think if they can really execute like at an operational level more than at an inspirational level, then we're really going to see Treasure and all the projects in the ecosystem start to level up in the coming months.
I appreciate that. Your experience with growing companies is far beyond my exposure to NFTs that have I've seen grown and die within a couple of weeks. So I do appreciate that point of view.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's one of the cool things you guys get to do on this podcast. I always thought it'd be fun to run a podcast because you just get to hear from so many people. I'm sure in a few months I'll be coming to you for advice because you'll just have such a breadth of perspective.
That's
Well,
that's really sweet.
We appreciate that for sure, and we hope that we can get more entertaining personalities like yourself. To be honest, I think we've had some other personalities on too, but I really enjoy hearing your thoughts about what you're doing and the vision of Magic in general. So thank you for that. Alan, what was your question?
Yes. Honestly, even in the one Discord, for the four of us right here, we've been in there for a while. We know there's a lot of originals in the Discord that we always see chatting around, and all of us are those originals that just chat around. And I've seen DL always posting his TA about Treasure, and I always see Dion just always trying to analyze it and look through it, and everyone's just looking at the TA and just trying to see, okay, what's going on and where is everything going. And I kind of considered you personally, for me, just the senpai, or like the great teacher for the Treasure channel, and just everyone in the one Discord always giving really thoughtful, really well thought out analysis. And just a question I had right now as well is, I mean, you already touched about it throughout the podcast as we were talking about, but again, you have very well thought out experience in terms of TA and in terms of the crypto a grand scheme of things as well. And I just wanted to ask you is, as of right now, as Treasure is speaking on a TA perspective, on technical analysis perspective, and also just the demographics of how everything is working right now. And also in terms of just on a macro perspective of how crypto is also operating, and just how we see the trends of where crypto is headed, and just in terms of the current stakes that we're all also in crypto.
Yep.
Um, in terms of their own correlation together, where do you see Magic specifically going within the next month and a half? And honestly, do you see just the macros of crypto really pushing a pressure onto Magic and possibly even being detrimental to it to some extent. And apart from that, just honestly gaining your thought process of what you expect to see within the next month or two in terms of Magic.
Sure. Let's see. So I have not been checking the charts as religiously now as I was before, and I think that's in itself telling. For me, as of maybe a week or so ago, if you remember, we kind of talked about this in the Discord. I shifted my view on Magic from, short term looking at things going up and where's the peaks and all that kind of stuff to more of a midterm thinking. Right now in these market conditions and these macro conditions, like I'm buying things here, but I'm buying things with a midterm, long-term mindset, and I'm not going to get wrecked if things don't pump tomorrow or next week. I mean, they could. That'd be great. I'd be really excited, but it's not something that I'm planning on right now. It's actually been, if I can geek out for a little bit on the TA side of things, it's been fascinating watching the NFT marketplace for legions, especially, and I guess also for smalls over the past few weeks. I haven't really been in a NFT project that went up through a hype cycle and then down and then up and down. Like really watched it closely, as closely as I have for legions, and especially because there's only 30 or 40 legions listed in the marketplace. So you can really keep an eye on what's going on and get a feel for things. And so when they talk about like market cycles, right? And you've probably seen those charts of this is accumulation, this is distribution, this is euphoria, this is despair, like all that kind of stuff. You can see that happening in the NFT marketplace, especially like really clearly. And so it seems very clear to me. And what do I know? I'm just learning, especially this kind of stuff myself. But that we're going through a big reaccumulation phase that takes time. It's like consolidation. People are panic selling. People who just bought like a week or two ago are panic selling. Maybe that's not true. Like people that bought 3 weeks ago, panic sold a week ago, that kind of thing. And so we're seeing like slowly like what's called weak hands, people that are just looking for short-term price action, moving to strong hands, people that are in it for the longer term. And that's what needs to happen to anything in a market, like tokens or coins or whatever, for it to then have this next pump that works. And it isn't, people don't sell in 10% or 50%, people that are actually believing in it for the long term. And that's what's happening right now with these NFTs. So it's interesting to geek out on and watch. And it's also really bullish for the mid to long term, I think, in terms of how the distribution is shaping up.
Thank you for that awesome answer.
And just a side note to that, sorry, and do you necessarily see any correlation with crypto macros right now? And do you see that possibly having any uh, detrimental aspect or anything possibly causing just a complete fail for Treasure within the next coming months? Or do you think anything that's going on with crypto macros have any problem to correlate towards that right now? Or do you think that necessarily they don't have too much of an impact on what we see on a day-to-day basis?
Yeah, I mean, I'll start by saying I really have no clue what's going to happen in macro world, and I have really no clue what's going to happen in crypto right now. I feel like I usually have a somewhat of a bias in terms of crypto, but I really don't know right now. I think we're at an important level, and maybe things tank from here, and if they tank, they're going to tank a lot, or maybe they pump from here. If they pump, they're going to pump a lot. Like, I don't know. It really could go either way. So I can't really use crypto as a bias for what I think is going to happen with Magic. It probably is going to affect it, and Magic's probably going to follow what happens in crypto. But it's been interesting because Magic really had a big run earlier this year in January and February. And that's when Bitcoin and especially altcoins across the entire market were just tanking. And so there is a bit of a history of Magic in being, whether it's uncorrelated or inversely correlated. And I think part of that is because it's on Arbitrum, it's a little bit less known. And so people like that are scared to put money into Ethereum tokens, or they don't want to get involved with the main part of the market, they might just hop over and start buying into Magic. And so it happened once. So I think that there's a chance that Magic could have its own little bullish momentum and bull run, regardless of what happens in crypto. But I wouldn't necessarily bet on that. I think the best thing that could happen for Magic and for Treasure and for the whole like sub ecosystem happening here is for the team to really start executing and for the partners to launch awesome games and for people to get into it and start learning about it and actually get usability on what's essentially like its own kind of pseudo L1, the pseudo network, the gaming network. And I see that starting to happen. So I kind of tune out the day-to-day price action and trying to accumulate what I can when I can and contribute how I can and then enjoy the ride.
Me too. I have one more question for you, DL. This one should be a layup, but how did you discover the One Discord, and how long have you been in the One Discord?
That's a great question. I discovered the One Discord from the Bottom Shorters Discord, which was Loomdart and Don Alt's Discord from a few years ago. And it's just kind of mostly like a traders Discord, but there's a few people there that talk about NFTs. And I was already into Magic, but I didn't have nearly enough people around that I could geek out with around Magic and Treasure. And so Don Alt actually was saying that Moon's Discord was a kind of a crazy place, but an interesting place to get some alpha. And so I hopped over and checked it out. And I almost left right away because I went into NFT General. And yeah, but then I found the Treasure subthread, and all you guys like Treasure the way I do. So we've had a lot of fun.
That's for sure. I mean, I just have to say that for me, as much as I'm in so many other Discords, I always go back to the one because I think that I get the most humor out of it more than anything else. And it just makes being in this space a little more fun, I think, is why I'm in it. I think I laugh every day at something.
True. I can verify that.
Over the last couple of weeks, we've had some updates to different projects within the TreasureDAO ecosystem. Biggest one being Seed of Life, launched on April 18th, which, as we were recording this, was yesterday. I don't know about the rest of you guys, but I thought it was very interesting that it's going to be, or I shouldn't say that. What I should say is I really enjoyed the process for staking your Seed of Life, basically burning it to get assigned your class. The whole process kind of was a fun little step-by-step process, if you will. For me, it was you pick out your birth realm and your upbringing realm, and then you choose all the different treasures you want to stake, and then it has you approve all the different assets, which I asked End if there was kind of a thought process behind that and not just offering the option to approve everything at once. But I guess I can understand why they had it done separately. And then now I'm waiting 55 days until my Warrior NFT matures and becomes a soul, I believe. And I just thought it was a very, I guess, unique change of pace to what we've been doing. And it was pretty exciting. I know we were talking about it last night. Did any of you guys have Seed of Life?
I I only had Seed of Life to trade it. So no, I don't, and I feel an extreme amount of FOMO right now because everyone's getting to go do the fun things. They get to click the fun buttons, and I can't, which sucks. But I'm actually thinking about getting into it but I'm gonna wait and check out the NFT price action, just see if I might be able to get in on a slightly lower price. But I think some alpha for our viewers is I heard that regardless of when you buy a soul seed, you need to stake it for 8 weeks. Like that time period is not shortened. So it's important if you want to getting in sooner rather than later is obviously beneficial.
I had a few seeds that I went through last night. I think it was awesome, super well done. And just kind of thinking about this process, this 6 weeks ago phase when everything in Treasure kind of went haywire, Seeds of Life was being run by Jumpman and End was running Bridge World. and then they shook everything up, and Jumpman left to do Trove, and End switched over to be the lead on Soul while he's also doing Bridge World. And this is the kind of thing that really like could kill a project, not just like Soul, but also Bridge World, but also like the ecosystem. And that's why I'm saying I'm watching what happens in the coming days and weeks. And Soul looks awesome. And if they're able to get together and really build an awesome game with all that chaos happening, and End steps up and the team steps up and it really just runs smoothly, to me, that is super bullish on the future of Treasure.
I couldn't agree more. It really is extremely well done. And I know that they're working on improving some of the graphics, but I think that the graphics are kind of kitschy and really fun, if you will. It's like a little baby. I have a baby warrior. DL, what classes did you end up getting?
I got 2 priests, 2 for 2.
Wow. 2 of the same
Nice.
class. Considering it's random,
know.
that's kind of lucky, I guess.
And priest is not even the most common one. I thought that when I looked it up, I was like, oh, probably half of them are priests, but no, it's kind of a random one. So I'm going to reflect on what the universe is telling me, that I keep drawing priests.
Sorry, I just wanted to say something. We don't want to change up too much the topic, but now you can also mint Toadstoolz for everyone. And I do have to say, I was just checking on the website while I'm listening to everyone, and the music is very, very catchy. And I have to say, I am absolutely rocking this music. So I'm just gonna have this on the background while we have the podcast going on, because I love this. I absolutely am rocking this.
If we want
It
to,
is
if we want to take a
bang.
mint break, we can take a mint break. If you guys want to mint your Toadstoolz, I'm not on the white list.
We can do it right on. We can do it right on during the recording. I can claim it right now, and we can listen to it along as I go.
Is it instant reveal?
Yeah, it is actually. So you can claim it, and then there's a reveal, and then I think there's 3 steps. So you have your claim it part, and then you have your reveal part, and then it just says done. So that's pretty cool. But man, I am rocking this music. This music is so catchy. I'm in love with it.
Well, now I got to listen to it.
It kind of gives me a little bit of a Hawaii type of beach vibes. It's really cool.
Yeah, no, it is pretty good. Pretty good music.
Do you guys have any kind of a ritual you do when you go do your mints? Anything interesting to share?
No, do you?
I don't have something that I do every time, but I definitely I try and not just like on my phone push a button or like run over and push the thing. It's like I sit there and really like, all right, I'm stepping into a new community. I'm stepping into a new, maybe this is going to make me a lot of money. Maybe I'm going to have a lot of fun. Like, where is this going to go? It's a whole new pathway in my life that's opening up.
That is such a positive view. DL, I have literally been driving, running through red lights, being like, I have to mint this thing on my phone. On God, I have done that.
I mean, I do that too when it's a rush. Certainly, I'll do that when it's a rush. The corner of the club or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But when you have time, especially for something like Toadstoolz, I'm pretty excited for just kind of take a minute to soak it in.
I love
that
as well.
I've never done that.
Honestly, for me, usually when I'm minting something, now that I think about it, is I always just have either a beer or a glass of whiskey beside me while I'm having my mint, and just hoping to just lounge around and just have a nice mint. Honestly, that's honestly what I like doing whenever whenever a mint's really nice and easy.
You guys
helps me relax.
You guys and your minting rituals.
No, that's awesome.
It gives a good luck. It gives a good luck.
I know. It's funny. I never thought about kind of the way you think about it, DL, or you, Alan, but I just go and mint. And maybe I should slow down and just take some time, because maybe that'll make my decisions different.
Honestly, I didn't even know why I did that. Deal just he opened my eyes for me, and I just realized that that's kind of something I've been doing just passively this entire time. So that's pretty cool. Hopefully, now that I know about it, I can prepare even better, and honestly just give me even more good luck for the mints that are coming up ahead.
I have to say though, their website seems pretty smooth. I think the wait was worth it for sure. It kind of has this Super Mario World vibe to it.
And I love it. I'm honestly catching it a lot. It's just so groovy, and that's just kind of my type of flow that I like going on with things.
And they're also listed on Treasure's marketplace already. There's only one listing, and the floor is kind of about 1700 magic. But
I hope it stays there.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens. I doubt it'll stay there. You know the way things go.
100%.
just to recap, Seed of Life launched. Toadstoolz are minting. We have a hint of Bridge World Questing Season 2 that End dropped on Twitter. Seemed to be this kind of like foggy, mountainy range. I'm actually excited. I think that for whatever reason, I know it's just pushing a button, but I really enjoy the questing. I enjoy the whole process of it. I love the reveal. I like that the reveal is available to you kind of maybe 5 minutes after you send them to quest. And then, when it's time to quest again, I'm like, all right, it's time to quest again. So maybe that's my ritual. But I really enjoy it. I don't know about you guys.
For me, it's just pushing another button. I really need to stop and smell the flowers. I appreciate this is putting some good ideas into my head. So I appreciate your worldview.
Another thing that happened in TreasureDAO this past week, I believe Tales of Valeria is activating some of their play to earn mechanics. I believe one of them is also a questing style format. Dion, what was it called? Was it like tasks or?
So you stake. So currently, questing is not active. I believe questing will be active on April 21st, which is in 2 days from now. So you stake and you can get assignments, and I'm not exactly sure what assignments necessarily entail.
I can talk about it a little bit.
Oh yeah, please.
So basically, this is kind of like their warm up to the main quests. And so in this phase, you can start to earn some of their in-game token. I forget what it actually is. And you can also start to level up some of your characters. So the first, at the beginning, there's only one assignment that everyone can do. So you go into the assignment hall and they list all the assignments, but you can only do the first one because you don't have any levels yet. And then basically you can leave them there indefinitely, but after 6 days or 7 days, it starts decaying how much you actually earn, and then after 14 even more, and then 21 even more. So basically, like, the strategy is to make sure you go check in at least every 6 days and push a button to claim all your stuff, and then let them keep doing it until you level up and can do more cool stuff.
It's that's kind of like the realm mantra as well. Like, they want you to be active because the longer you wait to claim your stuff, the less you kind of get. It's a great mechanic. I think it's really gonna bring more activity to these apps, and I know that that's the goal. But what I also like seeing, and DL, you were touching on it earlier, is that all these different projects are now really kind of integrating all the different treasure NFTs. They're starting to talk about creating their own treasuries filled with magic. I think it was Lost Samurais was putting it to their community to vote on whether or not they used all the ETH in their treasury to buy magic. And I think that that's kind of what's really exciting about this whole ecosystem in general, is that it's all centered around this one token, and there's so many different ways that it could be utilized. And it's almost like these projects are working together and competing with each other at the same time.
Totally. And it's all just starting, and it's kind of working. Like,
Yes.
to do the Seeds of Life stuff, you have to you can get a bonus if you stake a T5 treasure, T4 treasure, or you can stack them. And T5 treasures went up from like a 3 magic floor to like a 9 or 10 magic floor yesterday because everyone was buying them to stake them in the game.
Yeah.
So it's like, these are just like the first little seeds, but it seems like it's kind of working.
No pun intended.
No pun intended. Hey guys, so I got my Toadstoolz up. I did my claim mint. I'm about to hit reveal. Can I share this moment with you?
Yeah,
Go for it.
absolutely.
I'll actually do it with you. We'll
we
do it
actually
together.
we love sharing minting moments on the pod for sure, because we've done that a bunch of times now.
All right,
Okay.
let's reveal it.
Let's do it. So we're like looking at this little kind of Mario world, and there's a little green toad bouncing on a mushroom, and there's birds flying around, and there's this little like island. This is all like Croakshire. It looks like everything's coming soon. Oh, whoa, you can go into the marsh.
Okay, yeah, you go into the marsh, and I don't necessarily know what you're doing in the marsh, but you can already. But I do know you can already stake your toad to hunt for bugs, so that's already up and ready to go.
Yep, that's the marsh. All right.
And each toad catches 10 bugs per day, and you can use the bugs to buy items, which are going to be coming soon. So that's pretty cool. They already got that up and running.
So I would imagine with Magic creating their own AMM, that all these different tokens within these different projects like Fief or Bugs are going to be tradable against Magic on their exchange, right? Oh, Alum, can we zoom
whoa,
in?
now he comes out. Whoa, my guy looks kind of cool.
Can we zoom in on that?
Uh,
a blue guy. What does he have on his shirt?
Blue guy. It's a rocket. Let's go. Small brains. This kind of gives me small brains and Toad's type of collab vibes here. This is cool. I love this guy.
You know what? This is definitely your Toad for sure. Like the wide-eyed with the rocket chip. I mean, it's very appropriate.
I love the bandana. It's honestly, I liked it. I like it a lot. That's actually better than what I was expecting, honestly. I thought the one at the top left was going to be my little guy, and I was like, "Oh, just a nice casual naked Toad. Awesome." But then this buddy popped up right over here.
Nice. Mine's basically like that little green dude in the left. It's just a little green dude on a mushroom with he's got a rocket shirt. Pretty chill, understated. I can rock that. We'll do it.
I wonder what the rarities are going to like this, because I don't seem to have any items or accessories. You got any on yours, DL?
Nope.
Okay. So I don't know if that's going to be for other people as well, or if I think item accessories might just be something that's a rare trait. But we'll see the rarity up soon. But crossing my fingers that a blue guy is a little bit rare. So we'll hope to see that goes well.
I'm excited. I'm excited for you guys. Wow. So live mint on the cast. Floor now is 280 Magic, and there are 45 listings.
Ooh.
Yeah. Oh, and that music is so groovy.
I love it. Oh. And they already got items listed up as well on the marketplace, actually. So there's only one as of right now. And, well, that's what it's up. And it's a wooden axe, which is selling for 100 Magic.
That's the
That's
the
items.
Toadstool items. Got it.
Yes.
Oh, cool.
And then they have the Toadstoolz up here. Okay, never mind. So now I can see all of the different types.
Yeah. All right, let's keep moving. There's one more one more item that I wanted to touch on with the TreasureDAO round robin, and that's I believe that small racing was hinted at on Twitter by John Padden. And I know that they talked about it before, but I think he was very direct when he said it's coming really soon. They even posted a picture of a bicycle, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm hoping to see small racing by the end of this month. I think that'll be a really interesting game in this ecosystem, and I think that if they can execute it into a real racing game with maybe some wagering in terms of Magic or some other token, I think that'll be a hit for sure.
Definitely agree. I think small racing has the capacity to be one of the first really enjoyable games that comes out on the Treasure ecosystem. So I'm very excited for its potential.
And speaking of just small racing, I've seen, again, I was talking to Braiker and Dion during just some of the meetings and other conversations we've been having, and I've been seeing John incentivize and really push a lot of pressure on people for small racing as well. So I definitely am kind of excited to see what's going to be going on with that. He's been tweeting a lot of stuff, and apparently there's going to be some sort of competitive aspect that comes within small racing as well, which is going to be some sort of Rocket League competition as some sort of promo. So that's pretty cool. I'm excited to see something unfold within there. And also that the small brain prets and the actual cars, they're going to be having utility towards small racing as well, which is going to be also awesome to see. And again, really incentivizing just keeping the flow state of just the entire treasure ecosystem, really trying to just hit every single aspect of whatever's being listed on the marketplace. And honestly, he's been tweeting a lot. He's been not necessarily tweeting, but we have been seeing him post in the Discord, and a lot of people have been just posting the screenshots of his Discord messages on Twitter. So honestly, just follow around everyone on Twitter, and you'll definitely see it come up. fairly soon because he's been posting almost every single day. So and as feel like as we get closer and closer, we're gonna see some bigger news starting to get unfolded as well. So I'm excited to see what's gonna be coming.
Guys, someone just listed a golden axe in the Toad items.
200 magic. That seems like kind of cheap.
Yeah.
I mean, this is all just so ridiculous. And the fact that, I mean, I honestly, truly believe that TreasureDAO and Magic is an experiment that could be profoundly impactful for the future of humanity. And we're sitting around looking at wooden axes and toads on toadstools. Like, I mean, it's just hilarious and it's tons of fun. And
Yeah.
I'm just really happy that this exists.
Me too.
Oh, I love this. I love this. Sorry, I just want to point out this blunt trait that they have in the mouth of the toad. This is absolutely hilarious. I love this trait. This is so funny.
Yeah.
They also have
Jill, you-
cigarettes. So there's a
Yeah.
blunt and a cigarette. Oh my gosh.
Dale, you have a really great outlook on being a part of this community. I just want to say that.
I agree.
Yeah. I appreciate that. I think a lot of people sometimes are here just to make a quick buck, so I appreciate that a lot.
I do too, and you know what, Dion, I'm glad that you brought that up because I think that those of us who are in this because of the community, because we believe in Web3 and we see it as this kind of future for what's ailing us in traditional finance and our legacy social systems. I think that we're going to find each other in places like the Magic Hour podcast or on DL's website and his Discord, because we're really the community. Those people who are in it for the money, they're not part of the community. They're in it to make their money, and they will. And they'll be in and out, but they won't ever be a part of it the way we are, kind of thing. At least that's the way I see it. Now it's time for what has become a regular segment on this podcast. Every week we put out a survey for our listeners to complete. We also posted in a couple of different Treasure Discords just to get a sense of what everybody's feeling, kind of a barometer test of the TreasureDAO ecosystem. You can always find the link to the latest survey on our Twitter. We'd love for you to provide your feedback or answer the survey so that we can get more data around our weekly survey and give you some really up-to-date information about how everybody's feeling. With that being said, guys, I'm gonna include you in this as well. The way this works is I'm gonna read the question. I'm gonna tell you what the options are. I'd like for you to complete the survey live, like give me your answer, and then let me know what you think the market has to say, so to speak. There are also a couple questions in here that I'll just kind of read the results of because they don't really fit in the what do you think category. But let's get started with the first one, which we ask every week, which is what's your general feeling on the TreasureDAO ecosystem today? This one, I think I know how you guys all feel based on the conversation we had on this pod. So rather than get your answer, what do you think the respondents said on a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being bearish and 5 being bullish? What's your general feeling on the TreasureDAO ecosystem? Alan, what do you think? How do you think everybody's feeling?
Honestly, I'm gonna keep it with I think everyone has still keeping the same mindset as they did last week, and I'm gonna keep it still as a 5.
All right, Dion, what about you?
I love it. I'm gonna say 4.
Okay, and Dion, where do you think our respondents?
Okay, just 2 questions. How many people responded, and when did they respond?
That's fair.
It's proprietary, but it was 14.
Got it.
14 respondents. We're trying to get more. We might have to start offering whitelist spots or something if we can get whitelist spots.
Got it. Okay.
And what was the other question?
No, that's enough.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with 5.
Well,
That's what I like to hear.
Yes, overwhelmingly, 64% of the respondents said it was 5, and then 21% said 4. So it was a bit of a departure from last week because I think last week they were closer to 3, right? We were talking. It was down a little bit.
It was. So that's we'll have to graph this out. That'll be really interesting.
Yeah. So next question was, are you going to play Seed of Life? Again, I know your answers already. So what do you think the respondents said? Dion, what do you think?
Are you going to play Seed of Life? I think the majority of people that responded are going to, yes.
Okay. Alan, what about you?
Yep, same here. I think a lot of them are going to be playing it as well.
And DL?
Yeah.
Well, you guys are right on the money there. 64% again said yes, and 35% said no, which honestly was a lot closer than I thought it would be. I thought a lot of the respondents, being that they're all probably Magic Maxis, were going to be playing Seed of Life. But, maybe Dion, you were one of those people who said no because you sold your seed.
I never participate in these.
Oh, okay, good.
I do not want to skew the data.
Good. Next question. Oh, if you answered yes to Seed of Life, you were directed to an additional question, which was, if you are playing Seed of Life, what class did you hope to get? And I listed all the classes out, and I'm just going to read the results because, I think that there are too many classes to really make an impact here. But overwhelmingly, the majority chose Asura, and then followed by Slayer. And then we had 2 votes, one for Warrior and then one for Paladin. But it seemed everybody wanted to be Asura, which was interesting to me because I kind of wanted the Slayer class myself. And Dio, we know you're a priest, but did you have a different class that you wanted?
No, I'm a priest.
It's your thing, man.
It's my thing. Yep, own it.
He got it around Easter/Passover. So maybe that was a sign.
You got perfect timing on that one.
I think things happen for a reason. I think that there's something to that. And so maybe
I can find a toadstool that lives in the marketplace that looks like a priest. That'll really be the trifecta.
Maybe
that'd be great.
With a blunt in his mouth. All right, so then there were 3 other questions. First one being, are you minting toadstools? Everyone responded to this question. I know, again, what you guys are doing, but what do you think the respondents answered? DL, what do you think? Yes or no? Are you minting toadstools?
The answer is yes, but not everyone's on the list. So, yeah, I think it's pretty exclusive. So I'd say no.
Okay. Dion?
DL is bang on. Totally agree. I think that I think it was like 8,000 or so to mint, and I remember how hard those croaky challenges were.
And Alan, what about you?
I'm gonna go with it. Yeah, I'm just hoping that the people who answered the survey are the lucky ones. So I'm gonna say yeah. They're gonna be minting it.
Well, I appreciate all your answers, guys, but the truth is that no, not many people are minting toadstools, which I guess DL and Dion, you were right. And it was overwhelming. It was almost 80% of our respondents are not minting toadstools, which is unfortunate, I guess. Because they're pretty freaking cute, and I might have to figure out how to get one.
Guys,
smalls or toads? I almost feel like
toad that basically looks like a priest. There's a pirate toad that basically looks like a priest.
Yo.
I love the lightsabers, man.
These do look cute. They did a great job.
Yeah, I love them. I love the art to these. These look really cool, and there's some of them with the backgrounds as well. And I love how they added like the detail on the mushrooms as well. And I love the art to these. I can't even lie. I got one with the wizard and fire sword and stuff. These look awesome.
Low key sleeper hit Toadstools. Yeah. You heard it here first on the Magic Hour. Next question was, what's your feeling on multiple projects using ballots or crystals? You know what's funny? When you do these surveys, you give like in a ranking answer like this, you give the lowest rank and the highest rank, but they don't tell you that when you're looking at the summary results. So 1 was, it's not something I'm in favor of, and 5 was, I think it's a great idea. We were just trying to get a sense of what people are thinking. I think you guys can all figure out what was the answer here. But Dion, what do you think? How do you feel about multiple projects using the balancer crystals?
I think it's a fantastic idea. I personally have not thought of a single downside of it.
I think you're correct there. And where do you think the respondents landed?
Oh, I imagine that there's somewhere in a similar vein. I mean, maybe not maybe. I'm sure there's someone out there. There are a lot of people out there who are much smarter than me that have probably thought of some downsides, possibly. But I think that most people are largely in great favor of using these.
Right on. Alan, what about you?
Honestly, same thing as Dion. Honestly, the exact same answer. I don't personally know any downside that I could see in terms of having multiple projects implement balanced crystals, but as far as I can say for everyone else who might be answering, I feel like there definitely is someone who knows more than me and can definitely figure out a downside that comes alongside of it as well.
True. And DL, what about you?
It is so genius. It is one of the most genius things about Olive Treasure, and I'm so excited that it's actually happening.
Yeah.
I'm in agreement with all you guys too. I think it's what I like about it most, and we've talked about this, is that it's basically guaranteeing liquidity in the markets. And
Yep.
once you're putting it in, you're not able to take it out, and you're transferring it to the DAO. And then the DAO controls all the liquidity. It's so effective.
It's
And
awesome.
the reason that that's important for Treasure as this experiment for humanity, when you talked before about Naval talking about housing communities, like you want your housing price to go up, you want your community price to go up, so your token price goes up. You have to compare your token price with other communities. That's where automated market makers come in, but you need liquidity. And so you need to have liquidity as this engine that makes all this stuff work in the future when we go beyond gaming to actually use this as a mechanism for society. And how do you generate liquidity? Freaking balancer crystals. It's hilarious.
Yeah. The liquidity becomes NFTs that are utilized in any one of these games. And it just it's really very interesting. It actually solves a huge problem in a very elegant way that I don't think we really kind of understand at this time, but I think it's going to be very impactful in future iterations of not just TreasureDAO but other NFT projects as well, at least in my opinion.
I think the only like potential downside to think about is, pricing people out, even though it's a relatively low price point. It's a few $100 right now to get balancer crystal. When we're talking about free mints and everyone has their own economic situation, I think in a system design world, you want to be careful about not pricing people out that can come just play and enjoy. And Treasure's done a great job of that. And I think balancer crystals are mostly not required; they're kind of bonus add-ons. But I know that's something to keep in mind.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I don't think I asked you guys what you thought the community would feel, but overwhelmingly 57% were feeling that this was the best idea ever, followed by 21% at number 4. So like 5 being best idea ever. And then, so almost all the respondents were feeling very bullish about it. Although we did have someone voted too. I'm not really sure why. Maybe they just don't understand balancer crystals, or they don't want it to be in multiple projects, which might be related to the cost perspective that you were talking about, DL. Finally, this was an interesting question because on recent episodes, we've been talking about how Battlefly and Realm are creating their own magic treasury, and Magic Dragon DAO is also creating their own magic treasury. This question was, which project will end up with the largest treasury in approximately 3 months from now? And I listed Seed of Life, Battlefly, Lost Samurais, Realm, and Magic Dragon DAO. And, I don't know what Seed of Life has planned, but because they're collecting balancer crystals, I figure that they will probably have a treasury in the form of magic, because they're also collecting magic as well when people are staking their Seeds of Life. So that's why I included them. But DL, what do you think? Which project do you think will most likely have the largest magic treasury in about 3 months? Seed of Life, Battlefly, Lost Samurais, Realm, or Magic Dragon DAO?
That's a really good question. I don't have a clear answer on that.
Well, that's okay.
Yeah. I would say, I mean, I'd probably go with MDD or maybe Battlefly. Let's say Battlefly.
And where do you think the respondents would have landed?
I think the respondents would say MDD.
Okay. Dion, what about you?
Again, gonna have to agree with our Jacob Brain guest, DL.
DL, you have a fan.
It's mutual.
Right on. And Dion, what do you think the respondents would have said? Or you're agreeing with DL there as well?
Mm-hmm.
You're just mailing it in at this point, aren't you?
I'm not. Come on, dude. I do. I fundamentally agree. It's hard.
It's a joke. I was joking. I was just ribbing you a little bit.
No, dude. I got a hard on for DL.
Little Toadstoolz humor for you there.
Guys, we just shared a minting session. I think that we're all, mutually happy to be here right now.
Oh,
That's
for
true.
sure. We're all gonna make it. Alan, what about you? What are you thinking here?
I mean, realistically, 3 months in this space is like 10 months. Like, that is a long, long time, at least when you're moving in with Treasure. And honestly, there's so much coming out every single day. You don't know really what will happen tomorrow. There's no telling. But as of right now, I can definitely see a lot of snowballing effect coming in with the bigger projects right now, and what their plans are for the future as far as what we know currently. And I'd have to agree with DL and Dion on this one as well. It definitely would have to be Battlefly or MDD. Specifically speaking, I am leaning just a little bit towards MDD as of right now, just in terms of their framework on how they wanted to work around with their treasury. But again, anything can change. 3 months is a very, very long time in this space, and I have no doubt in my mind that Battlefly could definitely come to the top by the end of that as well.
And we
All
don't
right,
even know
well-
what MDD is planning for. Like, they haven't even released their plans or their programs or their vision yet. I think they're calling it
Exactly.
season 2, but really it's like, their basic stuff.
Yeah,
And I'm expecting it to be awesome. So we'll see.
us too. And spoiler alert: we're going to be having one of the or a couple of the members of the Magic Dragon DAO team on a future episode. I don't know if it's next week or the following week, but stay tuned for them as well. We're looking forward to that. I'm pretty excited to be interviewing them. But back to the question at hand, guys. You were all absolutely correct. Overwhelmingly, with 64% of the respondents said Battlefly, and then 14% said Magic Dragon DAO. There were also votes for Samurai's Realm and Seed of Life. But Battlefly, I also think that it's Battlefly, and I think it's going to be Battlefly because they have the largest NFT collection at this time. But obviously, like you said, Alan, 3 months is a long time, so that could change. But I think that they have kind of a good head start, so to speak, in terms of treasury. And the other reason being that they are heavily invested in Magic. I know that on the Bankless interview that we discussed a couple weeks ago, they mentioned that the Battlefly founders donated or seeded TreasureDAO with a significant amount of capital early on in the project. So I have to believe that they are definitely going to continue to keep those coffers full. And that concludes another episode of Magic Hour, friends. If you like what you hear, please like and subscribe to our YouTube or Spotify or Apple Podcasts or wherever you can listen to your podcasts. You can also follow us on Twitter at Magic Hour Pod. All the links are found on our link tree, which is in the show notes. From all of us, we appreciate your support for Bridge World.